Philadelphia 76ers center Joel Embiid getting suspended. Came out that he's going to get suspended for 3 games for shoving Philadelphia Inquirer columnist Marcus Hayes for mentioning his deceased brother and his son. Um, I guess, do you think, what are your thoughts on a decision that was made in the overall situation? For those who don't know about the situation, real quick,
Please.
Marcus Hayes is a columnist, like I just mentioned. He wrote. He was talking about Joel Embiid, but in mentioning Joel Embiid, not in necessarily the most positive way. He mentioned Arthur, which is his deceased brother, and his son, who was also named Arthur. Joel named his son after his deceased brother.
Uh-huh.
And Joel Embiid didn't take a liking to it. What are your thoughts about this overall situation? Jay, I'm gonna come to you first.
So here's look. I understand why he got suspended, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
obviously, if you're just going by the letter of the law, you can't put your hands on anybody. You can't put your hands on a reporter. So fine. If you want to suspend him, that's fine. But the other side of this thing is some of these reporters are just getting out of hand and they're just
Mm-hmm.
taking stuff too far. And why, if you want to write an article about basketball and whether or not you think my injury, like fine, do that as much as you want. But if you want to bring up my deceased brother, like what does that have to do with anything other than you making it real personal? So if you're going
Mm-hmm.
to make it personal, then I'm going to respond in the way that I want to respond, right? So, look, I can't tell you that if I was in a similar situation that I wouldn't have reacted the same way that Embiid did. And the guy, look,
Mm-hmm.
honestly, the guy might be lucky. He might have got off easy because had
Mm-hmm.
Embiid really wanted to get after him, he could have. So, look, I'm not sitting here saying like you should start punching people every time they say something
Uh-huh.
about you or pushing them, whatever. But I think these reporters have to know the line. And it just seems like
Mm-hmm.
lately they're people are just stepping over the line of what's acceptable. And I'm okay with these athletes saying, "Hey, if you want to make it personal, then you're gonna have to deal with whatever I think an appropriate consequence is." So I'm not mad at Embiid for what he did, but I also understand why the NBA felt like they needed to step in and suspend him.
Yeah, I'm with you, Jay. When I heard about the situation, I was like, oh boy. Everything, it's been a lot going on with Joel Embiid and the Philadelphia 76ers. Here we go again. Um, but it's understandable. I feel like there was at one point in time the media wouldn't cross these boundaries. There was a line drawn. You can
Yeah.
talk about me, you could talk about how um how my play is on the field or on the court. You could talk about me if I don't show up, whatever it might be, my injuries. But there's no need to ever mention anybody's family. He could have made his point. Uh, he could have made his he may have some very valid points at that,
Right.
but to me, it just got lost in it when you
Yeah.
mentioned Joel Embiid's little brother, who he was very close with, by the
Yeah.
way, very very close with. I mean, you could tell he named his son after him, and then his son. So I don't condone violence, but every so often, people cross that line, and it
Yeah.
gets you like, hey,
Mhm.
you testing me right now. You're really testing me. There was no need for you to bring them up in any situation. And Marcus Hayes is known for these unnecessary uh, uh, uh,
Yeah.
reports. Columns, I guess you could say, in
Mhm.
the Philadelphia Inquirer. He writes these disgusting um, reports all the time, and it's frustrating. And what's really frustrating is that I have not heard if he's going to get punished for this. Right now, it's been said that he will not, which to me, that I'm looking at the Philadelphia Inquirer side eye, like, so you're allowing this behavior. This is
Right.
not okay behavior whatsoever. So, and Joel Embiid probably he found that out as well and said, you know what, I'm gonna take it into my own hands. But the thing about this, he has some real. Can I say this? I'm gonna say it anyway. He has some real balls because Joel Embiid said it in a press conference. Marcus Hayes is not here today, but when I see him, I'm going to have a conversation with him. And then you show up in the locker room, and you thought this man forgot. You got to stop. Be more respectful of these people, because if that was vice versa, Marcus Hayes would not appreciate that whatsoever. He wouldn't like it. So just stay away from people's families. If you want to talk about the player and how their play is on the court or on the field, that's fine. That's your job. But to cross that line to make a point that didn't need to go that way, stay away from that. But K Walk, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I agree with everything you guys said, and when you talk about the media, we talk about it all the time. These guys know, they live for that. They live to
Hmm.
to go for that breaking point, if you will. We saw it with Dion, some time back, a while back, where he
Hmm.
had to excuse or exile, if you will, and one of the reporters who came in there because he was so disrespectful, or he wasn't focused on on his job. And these guys are communists, and they want to, what they want to do is they want to get as much attention, to bring so much attention to themselves, and they'll write about anything, to get those followers, to get those eyes, or those reads, if you will, whatever the case
Hmm.
may be at this at this point. But yeah, I mean, I listen, I'm not advocating for violence by any stretch of the imagination, but sometimes we all know that everyone, not just men, not
Hmm.
just women, everyone has a breaking point, and
Yep.
at some point you're going to reach that. And if you want to continue to go after, if you want to see if you can test those, see if you can get to that breaking point
Hmm.
may include you getting your neck broke. So be careful what be careful what you ask for, just to get
Right.
just
Hmm.
to get a view or a follower, or what have you. But my thing is, the next thing I'm looking for is if this guy is going to try to sue Embiid, because you know
Yeah.
how these guys get down.
Yep.
Hmm.
Next thing we're going to hear, oh yeah, we're going to what's his name, Marcus
Hayes.
Hey.
Hayes, Marcus
Mhm.
Hayes. Next thing we're hearing, Marcus Hayes files civil suit against Joel Embiid for
Right.
whatever number there. You can throw a number out there. But yeah, that's just what these guys do, man. They just try to bring so much attention to themselves by doing
Hmm.
scandalous stuff like this. So again, not advocating for Joel Embiid's action by any stretch of the imagination, ladies and gentlemen. But I understand.
I
But I
understand.
definitely
Yep.
understand.
And Britt, you made a
Right.
good point
Go ahead.
because you're right. Like there used to be more respect from
Hmm.
reporters to the athletes. But now I and K Walk, to your point, with everyone just trying to go viral all the time,
Yep.
guys are willing to be more risky, willing to cross those
Hmm.
lines because everyone just wants to be viral. But I think sometimes too people forget because you see these athletes as superhuman. You forget that they're people just like
Yeah.
everyone else, and they
Right.
have emotions too, especially when you strike a chord like that,
Hmm.
Yeah.
deceased brother, your
Come on now.
child.
Come on now.
There's just some areas you just can't touch. So,
Yeah. It's not
like
like you
K
missed a
Walk said,
shot. Yeah. I'm sorry. Go
yeah,
ahead. Go ahead.
not
Okay.
saying you should do it, but I
Yeah.
understand. I
It's
understand.
not like, yeah,
Right.
exactly. Go ahead, bro. Sorry.
Yeah. I think. Yeah. I just lost my point. Wow, that was crazy. Uh, but I think that the 3 game suspension in particular, that was something the NBA had to do. They
Yeah.
have to show face. Um, they I seen the comment that they came out with. They understand. The reporter mentioned something about Joel Embiid that was personal to him, but it is in their guidelines. If you touch a media
Yeah.
personnel, that you can get suspended. So I think that's just to show face. I feel like a lot of guys up there, they probably didn't even want to suspend him, but they had to suspend him. He actually got less time than I thought. I thought maybe he would get 5 games, but he got 3, which was, to
Okay.
me,
Facts,
that's
Marcus.
not bad. So yeah, Marcus Hicks says you can't speak on my family,
Facts.
period.
Facts.
And that's how a lot of people are. So um I think the 76ers also apologized to Marcus Hayes. I kind of don't like that though. I understand you're trying to be professional in a way. I don't like that whatsoever, because I think Marcus Hayes needs to apologize to Joel Embiid.
Yeah, I don't like
And I
that.
want to say this one thing about Philadelphia media, because I think Philadelphia fans also get a bad rep because of the Philadelphia media. Philadelphia media, they have a lot of people, first of all, who are not from Philadelphia, who are similar to Marcus Hayes, and they say a lot of
Facts.
crap on behalf of us but that's not what the fan base is really feeling or thinking at that particular time. It's just that they have a louder voice than we have because of the platform that they're utilizing. And I come at the Philadelphia media all the time. Come to Philadelphia, guys. Like, you can ask anybody, any of the fans, do they like the Philadelphia, anybody in the Philadelphia media? They have respect for some people, but the majority of them we cannot stand. We don't like them. They do not speak for us, and it's unfortunate because the national media takes only listens to what the Philadelphia media has to say versus really listening to the fan base, and that could be frustrating. And here's one of these situations. But I will say, in this situation, I give a lot of people in the Philadelphia media credit because they have been standing up for Joel Embiid versus Marcus Hayes, which I can appreciate in this one instance. Now, going forward, I'm gonna go back to not liking them again. But in the meantime, we are unified.
But Britt,
Hey, go ahead, Jay.
Oh, go ahead, K. Well,
No, I was just going to say, I had a run in with, back in the day with the guy from the Philadelphia Inquirer. I told the story on
yeah.
Prince's show, but I wasn't going to get into that. But basically, I was just going to say, hey, Joel Embiid, look at it this way. You're probably not going to get paid. Hey, listen, you get 3 more days off. You get 3 more games off. Look at that.
That is true.
I was going to say, I was
Hill.
surprised, Britt, that the Sixers came out and apologized. I was hoping that they were going to make it really difficult for this guy the rest of the season. Like, no one speak to him. Don't let him in the locker room. Like, to me, that's the stance that I was hoping the Sixers would take. Like, this guy's not getting another interview. Everyone on the team is like, we're not going to talk to this guy. Don't allow him in the locker room. I was hoping they would have made it really difficult. To me, that would have been a more appropriate measure than to apologize. I get it, because they probably are thinking maybe they could get sued too. So maybe they're just trying to save face. But I was hoping they'd make it extremely hard on this guy the rest of the year.
Hey Jay, they broke a cardinal Godfather rule: never go against the family. So they got to stick up for Joel Embiid here.
Yeah.
You never go against the family.
I'm thinking that he may not be allowed in the locker room anymore. I'm thinking they will make it difficult, but to save face and to follow what the NBA has done, because look, the Sixers have been getting in trouble a lot with Adam Silver in the NBA, so they're trying to save face with him and then everybody else. So, but I think they are going to. I'm not sure. They have not said anything. They may not say anything. I'm not sure. But I'm thinking because they have a lot of respect for Joel Embiid, they just gave him another contract, guys. They really did. That they will say, you know what, you can no longer come in our locker room. But I don't think it's going to be announced whatsoever. I just don't. I don't think so. So, all right, guys. Any final thoughts on this Joel Hines Embiid thing? I don't know if Hans is really his middle name. I just like saying Hans in there. It flows well.